The Virtual Reality Classroom by Tiffany Pope, Anthony Rose, David Glazer, and Michael Boyd. As we see it here, we need to look at historical aspects of movements being in history and having a cause and a reason behind them. These are the objectives for that. Can you spot a cause worth fighting? Can you recruit? Can you support? Can you support them physically? So how does ocean awareness work? And as we see here, we see our virtual reality person looking around the world in which he lives in and how that applies. What we have here is simply this. We have something going on where he is actually going in to see what he can do to change the world in which he lives. So, virtual reality world is very vast, as well as our students should know that because the world in which they live in are very vast. We understand that we're dealing with 6th to 8th graders, but say this could actually be something to do in science. This could be something to do in history. So we're looking at the ocean from this point of view of the virtual reality world. You pose a question here. You think what can be changed, and then this takes place. So step one is really identifying what is going on. What is the source? Now, as with anything, whenever you identify your source or your cause, as in history, there's always a cause and there's always an effect. One of the things that we do in this is that in order to get this to be something of major consequence, what we do is we try to recruit. We recruit with a purpose. Now, with that purpose being known, what we try to do is we try to find people who we think might be of value to you. Now, in the virtual reality world, the recruiting is simply a typing or a visual. Now, this does actually have an auditory where you can actually talk to the people, but as you can see, I thought that this person would be good for my cause. So I look around to see who is around me, as well as you can see the icon up in the upper left. And then those are the people within talking distance. You can see up here, there is an actual telephone. So you can actually call them and talk to them verbally. So one of the things this can do with the students, you can go from there. But in my case, I'm going to use a text format or an instant message. And as you can tell, my wonderful spelling is there. So I look next, and then up here and above, there's another person for static. And then I simply ask him, would you be interested in that? And so what we have here is this. So the recruiting's done. Now, how do you support that? And on this particular part of this virtual reality world in Second Life, we have an issue of where you can actually make money. And up in the upper right-hand corner, you see a balance. So can you make money to support it? And part of any cause is that you have to know your audience. You have to know what you need to actually sustain it. One of the key things here is this is a store. So you look in here, you can actually sell a service, you can actually do things within it and get an actual look. Now, it's just kind of a brief overview, and you kind of look at it and see what's going on. And you can make money doing things, interacting with people, going through certain checkpoints, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the other things is that you can actually, this is more of a shopping center. Now, when you look at a movement as a whole, so this is a big topic in today's thing. We got a lot of protests going on. You need to support it physically. So does your building need does your cause have a need for a building? Do they need supplies like water, food, simple snacks to keep your people around as far as protesting goes? Because that is all part of it. And one of the things that you see in these are the supplies that you can actually do it. So can you supply your cause is really the next step. When you look at this as a whole, this actually fits the criteria of a protest or a movement of sorts. Look at what's been going on in the news. I mean, people are supporting this cause, that cause. I mean, taking a knee has actually gained national attention. Political assumptions aside, you got a lot of things here going on, and this is what changes history. And that's why I chose that particular thing. Now, I leave the supply store and I kind of look to see what's going on, and now I need to focus in on the next aspect of things. When you look at a cause can only be as justified as big as your audience. So, can you take your cause to the next level? And this is more of a portal aspect of the things of different worlds within Second Life. And when you look at this as a whole, I mean, you can basically pick many different things. And if you look at the top, you look to the right or the left of any of these portals, you look to see where you can possibly go. Now, I just randomly chose one. I like blue, so I went down the blue portal. But can you take your movement elsewhere? So, whenever I did this, I found one that I thought, hey, let's see if we can take it there. And that's what movements are. Their movements are simply taking a message elsewhere, like any great pilgrimage. So, popular places is where I did. So, I went there and then I simply jumped ahead and away we go to the new world, and it loads and the world builds around me. So hopefully this concludes what's going on. So here's the application. They support their claims, scenarios. You can create scenarios, historical stuff. You can create a world that basically lives in all this. So this is what Second Life can do from a historical aspect.